The story of Jonah, running from purpose. What if God asked you to go to the people you hate the most? Not to judge them, not to destroy them, but to save them? Think about that for a second. Not strangers, not people you can ignore, but the ones who hurt you. The ones you believe deserve punishment. The ones you've already made up your mind about. Would you go? Or would you run? This is the story of a man who was asked that exact question. A man who knew God, heard his voice, and still chose to run. His name was Jonah. Jonah was not an ordinary man. He was a prophet. When he spoke, things happened. People listened to him because his words carried weight. God had used him before, and everything he had said came true. So when God spoke again, Jonah recognized the voice immediately. But this time, the message was different. Go to Nineveh. Nineveh, a city known for violence, a place filled with cruelty and power, the heart of an empire that had crushed nations and caused endless suffering. These weren't just bad people. They were enemies, people Jonah had every reason to hate. And God said, go to them, warn them, give them a chance. Jonah didn't ask questions. He didn't debate. He just made a decision. He would not go. Instead, he got up and went the other way, down to a port, onto a ship, as far as he could possibly travel in the opposite direction. He paid the fare, stepped aboard, and sailed away. Away from Nineveh, away from his calling, away from God. But here's something to think about. You can run from a place. You can run from people. But can you really run from God? At first, it seemed like Jonah was getting away with it. The sea was calm. The journey had begun. Then, everything changed. A violent storm crashed into the ship. This wasn't a normal storm. It came suddenly, aggressively, like it had a purpose. The waves slammed against the sides. The wind howled. The ship creaked like it might break apart at any moment. The sailors, experienced men who had faced storms before, were terrified. They threw cargo overboard, trying to lighten the ship. They cried out to their own gods, hoping for rescue. And Jonah? He was asleep. Deep below the deck, in the middle of chaos, he was sleeping. How do you sleep through a storm like that? Maybe because running from God doesn't always feel like panic at first. Sometimes it feels like silence, like avoidance, like pretending everything is fine, until someone shakes you awake. The captain found him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up, pray to your God." The sailors needed answers. They cast lots to figure out who was responsible for the disaster. And the answer pointed straight to Jonah. They surrounded him. "Who are you? Where do you come from? What have you done?" Jonah didn't hide it. "I worship the God who made the sea, and I'm running from him." Imagine hearing that while you're trapped in a storm at sea. The very God who controls the ocean is chasing the man on your ship. Fear spread through them. "What should we do?" they asked. Jonah looked at them and said something unexpected. "Throw me into the sea. It's my fault." But the sailors didn't want to do it. Think about that. These were strangers. They didn't know Jonah. Yet they tried to save him. They rowed harder. They fought the storm, trying to reach land. But nothing worked. The storm only grew worse. Finally, they cried out to Jonah's God. They asked for mercy. They didn't want to be guilty of taking his life. Then, with no other choice, they threw him overboard. The moment Jonah hit the water, everything stopped. The wind died. The waves settled. The storm disappeared. Just like that. But Jonah was still sinking. Down into the deep. The light above him faded. The water grew darker. The pressure increased. He had no control, no strength left, no way out. And just when it seemed like his life was over, something moved beneath him. A great creature rose from the depths and swallowed him whole. Now pause for a second. That doesn't sound like rescue, does it? Trapped inside a creature. Total darkness. No escape. But sometimes, rescue doesn't look the way we expect. Sometimes God saves you in ways that feel uncomfortable, even terrifying. Inside that darkness, Jonah had nowhere to go. No distractions, no escape routes, just silence, just time, just God. For 3 days and 3 nights he sat there, and eventually he prayed. Not a perfect prayer, not a religious speech, a real one, honest, raw, desperate. He cried out from the deepest place he had ever been, and in that moment he realized something powerful. God had already answered him. Before Jonah even spoke, the rescue had already begun. The creature that swallowed him wasn't punished. It was protection. Have you ever thought about that? What if some of the darkest moments in your life are actually moments where God is holding you together? After 3 days, the creature brought Jonah back to the surface and released him onto dry land, alive, breathing, given another chance. And then God spoke again. Same command, go to Nineveh. No changes, no shortcuts. The mission hadn't gone away. And this time, Jonah obeyed. He got up and walked toward the very place he had tried to avoid. When he reached the city, he didn't ease into it. He didn't soften the message. He simply said, 40 days and Nineveh will be destroyed. That was it. One sentence. No explanation, no invitation, no kindness. And yet, something incredible happened. The people listened. They believed. From the streets to the palace, something shifted. People stopped what they were doing. They humbled themselves. They turned away from their wrong choices. Even the king stepped down from his throne, removed his royal clothing, and sat in the dust like everyone else. The entire city changed. And God saw it. He saw their hearts. He saw their sincerity. And he chose mercy. He did not destroy them. Now here's the part that feels almost unbelievable. Jonah was furious, not confused, not surprised, angry, deeply, personally angry. He said to God, I knew you would do this. I knew you would forgive them. That's why I ran. Think about that. Jonah didn't run because he doubted God. He ran because he knew God's character. He knew God was compassionate. He knew God forgives. And he didn't think those people deserved it. Have you ever felt that? Wanting grace for yourself, but justice for someone else? Jonah was so upset that he said, it would be better for me to die than to live. God responded with a simple question. Is it right for you to be angry? Jonah didn't answer. He walked away and sat outside the city, waiting. Maybe, just maybe, God would still destroy it. As he sat there in the heat, something small happened. A plant grew up beside him, giving him shade. And for the first time in the entire story, Jonah was happy. Comfort can change your mood quickly, can't it? But the next day, the plant died. The shade disappeared. The sun beat down on him, and Jonah became angry again. So angry that he said, once more, I'd rather die. Over a plant. Then God asked him another question. Is it right for you to be angry about the plant? And then came the moment that defines the entire story. God said, you cared about this plant. You didn't grow it. You didn't take care of it. It was here for a moment, and then it was gone. But there are thousands of people in Nineveh. Lives I created. People who don't even fully understand right from wrong. Should I not care about them? And that's where the story ends. No response from Jonah. No conclusion. Just a question, because maybe the story was never meant to end with Jonah. Maybe it continues with you. So let's go back to the beginning. What if God asked you to show mercy to someone you believe doesn't deserve it? What if he asked you to forgive when you'd rather hold on to anger? What if he sees people differently than you do? And here's the hardest question of all. If God has shown you mercy again and again, how can you refuse to show it to someone else? That's the tension of this story. It's not about a storm. It's not about a fish. It's about the human heart. A heart that wants grace, but struggles to give it. So now the question is in your hands. If you were Jonah, would you go or would you run? Would you like it? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channels for more interesting and informative videos.